The Hoops for St Jude Tip Off Classic is scheduled for Tuesday inside FedEx Forum. Dawn Staley bringing her South Carolina women, the reigning national champions, to FedEx Forum to play the Memphis women. And then Hubert Davis is going to bring the North Carolina men, preseason top 10 team, reigning ACC champs, led by R.J. Davis, first-team All-American. He's going to bring the Tar Heels here to play an exhibition against the Memphis men. And all proceeds from the event are going to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So when you're starting to think about basketball in St. Jude, the person who pops into my head is Paris London, because Paris is one of the most celebrated high school basketball players the city's ever produced, and also the father of a young man who has been a St. Jude patient. Paris London in studio now. First, man, it's just good to see you. How have you been?
Man, good. It's good to be seen.
Just for people who are maybe younger and don't remember or just didn't live through it, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say you are one of the most celebrated high school players who ever came through here. I think I probably was aware of you when you were 13, 14, right. 15 years old. I've read subsequent stories where you've detailed that you felt like it got too big too quickly, and you really tried to protect your children from some of that as well. Just let's start there. Going back to when you are a high school phenom at Hamilton High, in the middle of a big recruiting battle, what was it like being a teenage celebrity in the mid-90s?
To go through that, man, it becomes more than basketball.
Right.
So just like you said, by the age of 13, all of these things are coming my way. And I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed the game more.
Right.
So the thing for me when I talked about it becoming a lot was when the politics of the game.
Right.
I wasn't prepared for that. So I didn't have anybody to really educate me on the things that were coming outside of being in between those lines. So when all of that extra was coming, to me, it wasn't fun.
Right.
No, I just wanted to play ball. So, getting that at an early age, I definitely wanted to do that different with my kids.
And it was such a weird time for Memphis basketball because Tony Harris had famously just left Memphis to go to Tennessee. Right. And in many ways, that was kind of the end of the Larry Finch era. Yeah. I know you can never directly attach it to that, and I don't think Tony's completely comfortable with that. But right. When Tony picked Tennessee over Memphis, the fan base really went the other way on Larry, and right. He didn't last much longer. Did you feel pressure to stay home and to be a Memphis Tiger?
I didn't feel pressure. I think we all wanted to stay home.
Okay.
So, like you said, when the deal didn't go through with Tony, that was big for us. But overall, for me, I looked at it as just that class of '97. It was loaded.
Yeah. Because that was like Marcus Moody, Tony Harris,
Corey Bradford,
Snap.
Yeah. So, and during that time, and I think Moody maybe committed after Finch was already gone. Yeah. He committed to Tick.
Right.
So that class, I think, with Finch not getting any of them to commit prior to him leaving was I think that weighed a lot on them keeping him. And I hated that because that was the Memphis that I grew up watching.
Right.
And I appreciated it even more once I went to Memphis myself, and things were different because we had new coaches coming in that wanted to go in other directions, but it made me appreciate Larry Finch that much more.
As I'm thinking through it, you get to Memphis, and then, we don't have to tell stories. It didn't go perfectly.
Right.
Do you think how complicated your prep career got hindered your college career? I think of other people who have been through this, like Renardo Sidney became super famous in high school, and it didn't turn out so well. Amani Bates got super famous in high school, and it didn't turn out so well. I think there's maybe a correlation between this stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think because what you want to do, you want to get back to what attracted them in a way.
Right.
What attracted all the media to me? It was what I was doing on the floor. Now, you add that to committing to one coach and then playing for 3 coaches total, so that's not the stability you would want for your college career. Right. For me, luckily, because I was so my high school career was so good that I still had the opportunity to play professional.
Right.
But I think that was solely based off of, and I feel blessed for that. But I think in college, and I don't think everybody's suited for it.
Right.
Because I don't know if you remember, at first it was a lot of talk about me going pro out of high school, and I always turned it down. So I don't think everybody's absolutely suited for the college game, too. I think that's a big thing.
When did you first realize that you were famous in your hometown at a very young age? Again, like I can remember, like the name Paris London was an important name in this city for years, as you were, just getting through Hamilton High School. When did you realize, like, anywhere you went in Memphis, people knew who you were?
Just that, when you're going around and they know you.
Right.
This is such a big hoop town, the love you get for simply being good at this game, So it was that. And it was also just the recognitions from my teammates. Right. It was so competitive back then that every level I was making the top team, being a part of the top team, in the starting lineup, being a big reason why we were successful. So getting that approval from my teammates was really, really huge for me.
So you wrap up your college career, you wrap up your professional career, and then life starts happening.
Right.
And then we look up, and we probably have more in common than we had when we were both students at the University of Memphis. We're both fathers now. We both have children. And at some point, I went back and read the story that Zach McMillan did at the Commercial Appeal on you and Nicholas. And as I'm reading it, I'm reminded everything was fine until it wasn't.
Right.
He was like his father, a flourishing basketball prospect and getting invited to camps. And as the story goes, he gets invited to the Chris Paul camp, which is a huge deal.
Right.
I was just talking to Matt Painter at Purdue, and he was upset because he couldn't get his All-American point guard, Braden Smith, into a Chris Paul camp.
Right.
Your son was there. And you notice that he's not moving the way he normally moves. He's not running the way he normally runs. And you actually told him, we're taking this basketball and setting it over here until we figure out what's going on. Yeah. And then I want you to take me to that day when you get a phone call or you're in a doctor's office and they tell you your next appointment is going to be at St. Jude. We believe your son might have cancer.
I'll never forget it, and we had went maybe a month or so of watching his gameplay go down. And for me, like we talked about before, my biggest thing was protecting my kids, and still is, because I have one coming up now that's, I think is really good. Right. So that attention is coming, but I'm big on protecting them. I was doing the same thing with Nicholas, and then when we let our guards down and we started letting them play and go on the circuit, it was two events where I was looking in the hustle and all those things wasn't where it was supposed to be. Right. He's a big kid. He was about 6'6" then. He's about 6'7", 6'8" now. He wasn't rebounding. He could always shoot, had a natural good touch, and that's all he was doing. So at the Chris Paul camp, we would go there. Chuck Lawson, those guys were there. So he had games where I would leave, go back to the hotel because I wasn't seeing what I need to see, and I didn't want to be a distraction, gotcha. As the dad that's not approving what he's seeing. So Chuck would call me and say, hey, Nicholas just hit 10 threes. Oh, wow. So I'm like, yeah, he can shoot with his eyes closed, though. Something's not right. So we got through it. That's pretty much what went on in Chris Paul. So when we got home, what actually got him to the doctors, myself and my wife, we were going out on a date, and we were talking about Nicholas' effort. And she had to stop and tell me, she was like, hey, he's not a complainer. He's been complaining. Right. Something's not right. I said, I tell you what, put the ball down. He's not touching the basketball. Take him to the pediatrician. Let's see what's up. Right. I was at work at Hamilton. At this point, I was working at Hamilton. And she went to take Nicholas to the pediatrician, and she seen it right then, which is rare. With our experience with St. Jude, we've talked with other patients who've went to 5 or 6 doctors and didn't get this thing, diagnosed. So she seen it, she ran the test again, and from there, she called St. Jude, and my wife called me and told me that we're headed to St. Jude. And of course, the only thing I could think about, well, number one, my world was just shocked, because I was never thinking we was gonna hear that. But that's how that happened. Our pediatrician did a great job. She seen it. She double-checked it. She said, this looks like something that, you guys need to go to St. Jude.
And let's not leave people in suspense. Let's fast forward to present day. Nicholas is doing great.
Doing really good.
Right.
Doing good. he was really sensitive to the treatment, which is a good thing.
Right.
So that helped with, getting rid of the cancer. And to this day, he's still cancer-free. He's a student. He does music. He tried to get back to basketball, but because he was so sensitive to the treatment, which saved his life, it also affected things as an athlete that he just didn't feel the same. So he ended up receiving his college scholarship and everything, but he got to school and decided he didn't want to pursue it, any further.
I imagine, because this same thing happened to a family just a few houses down from me within the past couple of years. Like the little guy he's friends with my little guys, and there's swimming in the backyard, and he's fine. And 2 weeks later, he's at St Jude. Yeah. And it was the same thing. He just didn't feel well. Something wasn't right. They start running the test, and it leads them there. He is also doing well. Yeah. And it's sort of an interesting dynamic, because when you hear that, as a father, it terrifies me. Right. It breaks my heart, just the idea of it. But then you quickly realize, because of this place, yes, you're probably going to be okay. And that's not like misleading. It's not trying to make you feel good.
Right.
This is awful that you're in this situation. Right. But because of that hospital, statistically, you are probably going to be okay. That's a reassuring thing.
Yeah, you have a chance. I tell people all the time, I've done several interviews about our journey with St. Jude, and I tell people, it's just like you said, it's terrible what your kid is going through. But if it was ever a great place to be at going through this, with all that they do to support the kids, to the treatments that they have in place with, looking at their bodies, seeing how they're reacting to certain things, just the attention to detail that's given to the families that's there, man, you can't beat it. And especially when you're talking about families who, when you get that news, you don't know what to do. Mm. But from day one, they had a plan, they were clear on it, and it helped us get back on our feet. And especially, and not throwing in the fact that you don't have to worry about bills.
Right.
Whether you can afford it or not, the last thing you want to think about is, I have to pay a bill,
it could bankrupt you.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Families go bankrupt every day in this country because of medical bills.
Medical bills, right. So we were able to 100% focus on our child getting better. And we thank St. Jude for that, tremendously, for the work that they've done and they continue to do.
You're a lifelong Memphian, and there's obviously we're a city filled with people, and I think everybody here is aware of St. Jude. Right. I don't know if everybody here has a great grasp for exactly what is going on at that place and how amazing it is. If your son or daughter or my sons would get diagnosed with some other illness, right, it really might cost us tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Easy.
At St. Jude, you never get a bill. How much did you know about St. Jude, even as a lifelong Memphian, before you were actually in the building?
You just hit it on the head. Right. We know of St. Jude,
right,
but just like other parents and families have did, I will see the commercial and it's too hard to watch. Right. You change the channel. But once my son went through that, and what I think, is the blessing in all of this is I'd never seen anybody that was from the sports world, right, a kid that was on his way to being a Division I, signee and had this career in front of him, all of a sudden sidelined by cancer. So with Nicholas going through that, I think it woke up a lot of people here. And I think now, just from the run and walks, like we've had hundreds of people from our community to come out and support this, because it's also showing that, hey, athletes, anybody can be affected by this, but look at what this family is going through. Look at this journey and look at how they're doing with this. And, and like I said, all thanks to St. Jude and God.
And the reason I wanted to bring you in here, it's not just to catch up, although I'm loving catching up. Right. The hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic is Tuesday night inside FedEx Forum. North Carolina men, Memphis men, South Carolina women, Memphis women. All proceeds are going to benefit that hospital that helped save your son's life. We don't have to lie to each other. We're trying to make this a big deal. We want people to support this because it could turn into something bigger. Just as a father of somebody who has relied on that hospital, Just would you recognize a basketball game featuring your alma mater is designed to raise money for this hospital? What message would you have for Tiger fans who are on the fence about going or not, about the importance of getting in that building, not just to support a basketball program we all care about, but to do something nice for this amazing hospital downtown?
Right. What better combination could you put together than St. Jude and the Memphis Tigers with Penny Hardway at the head?
Yeah.
You know, if it was ever a Memphian who cared more about Memphis, I think you would have to go to who? Larry Finch.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the Tigers and basketball and what he's done for this city and how he feel about the city, you know, what Penny is doing there is bigger than basketball. What St. Jude is doing, you partner them together, my message to fans would be, you know, it's not a better event to support than what we're doing here. You know, we used to do events for Nicholas on the high school level, and Penny supported that. Yeah. You know, he supported our family throughout the process when we were going through the fight. He supported countless families around the city of Memphis. So, and he's doing things with St. Jude every year. You know, Nicholas has talked with the Tigers. I think he's scheduled to talk with them again. Yeah. It's not a better fit you can put together than this. Some things are just magic. Right. For me, it's just magic to have the Tigers, to have St. Jude, to have this come together. And I know it's going to be big. I know we're going to have great support. And I'm beforehand, I'm thanking everybody, because I know that Memphis is going to come up, turn out, show out. I think it's going to be great.
Again, it's the Hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic. Tickets are available right now. Ticketmaster.com, but you can get there through the St. Jude website. You can get there through the Grizzlies website, FedEx Forum website. Again, the easiest place, Ticketmaster.com. Before I get you out of here, just update people on what is going on in Paris London's life right now. We all knew everything you did when you were 15, 16 right. years old. I think people are less familiar with what's going on now. How's Paris London doing?
Man, I enjoy being normal. Right. You know, so once I came from overseas and I was done playing, man, I just went into a shell. It wasn't negative. I just enjoyed being normal. So right now, I train my kids. My son, Paris London III, P3, is doing really good.
How old
He's
is
just
he?
in the 8th grade, okay. 14. So he's hit the national scene with people recruiting him. So I'm just enjoying being a family man. My daughter, 12 years old, she's ranked #1 and #2 in the state in tennis. So I train her. So my job now is working for a great organization, Tennis Memphis. So I'm working in tennis.
You're in tennis. Paris London is in tennis.
It's amazing what your babies will have you doing, man. So I love it. So I'm supporting her. She's doing really good. So now, my job now is tennis and tutoring. So we're mentoring and we're teaching tennis.
Man, that makes me happy. That makes me smile so big. Hey, listen, it's so good to catch up with you. Like I said, I hadn't seen you in a long time, but I used to love seeing you and covering your games. First at Hamilton, then at Memphis. Mm-hmm. It's just awesome to see your face. You look man. Great. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
For becoming the man that you've become.
Appreciate it.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Hoops for St. Jude Tip-Off Classic, Tuesday night inside FedEx Forum. Memphis men, North Carolina men, South Carolina women, Memphis women. Tickets are available right now. Ticketmaster.com. All proceeds support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.